Hello and welcome to Hank Games Without Hank. We are back at the county ground of Swindon Town, our home field. And it is raining in England, but because it is below freezing, it is coming down as snow. I couldn't change our starting lineup from the previous game. I had to leave Voluptuous Pericard in up front because he didn't score 3 goals as I thought. He scored 4 goals. That's just ridiculous. So I had to let him play today. Had to put him in the starting lineup to see if he can score 4 goals again in front of the Swoodilypooper fans, and more importantly, in front of his wife Alice and his 2 sons. So Voluptuous Pericard starting up front. We've got Leroy Williamson in center mid, along with French Lana, and we got a strong squad today. I think I'm hopeful. We're playing West Bromwich Albion, or as they shall be known today, West Bromwich Luzion. I'm going to talk to you today about my time in Amsterdam. I lived for 2 months in Amsterdam while I was finishing my new book, The Fault in Our Stars. I lived there because it's that was a terrible pass, and it could be disastrous. I have to bring you up to date, by the way, on the Fat Lucas situation, which has become increasingly desperate. We all love Fat Lucas. There is no question that we love him. Oh, boy. But I need to show you something. I'm going to take you to the team management screen, and I'm going to show you the squad. As you can see, Fat Lucas is down to a 56 skill level. He is, by a wide measure, the worst player in our starting 11, and he is getting worse by the week. When we started the Swoodilypoopers' march to the Premier League, he was a 61. He is now a 56. I am concerned about his ability to lead our club to the Premier League. However, I cannot take him out of our starting lineup because I know that you guys would be very, very angry with me, even though we have a better keeper on the bench. I know that you would be super mad at me, and I don't want to make you mad, so I'm keeping him in the game. But I just want you to know that he is getting worse. I don't know what the problem is. I've talked to him repeatedly. I mean, his head does not seem to be in the game right now. That's all I can say. I'm not impressed with him mentally, and I think this is a mental game, football, particularly that position. It's so much about confidence, and, it's a strange, goalkeepers are very strange people, and Fat Lucas is no exception. He's a haunted soul, like a lot of, talented keepers, and I'm concerned. So that's the update on that. I lived in Amsterdam for 2 months. It's a beautiful city. I've loved it ever since I first visited in 2007. It's always been one of my favorite places. And and the author, The Fault in Our Stars, is concerned with an author named Peter Van Houten, who is an American, but an American who is now living in exile in Amsterdam. He's of Dutch origin, but an American now living in exile in Amsterdam. And the book, great pass there, Voluptuous Pericard. He doesn't play as well in front of Alice. And so I wanted to live there because I needed to know the city better, and also because I just wanted to have a richer experience of the Netherlands than I'd had as a tourist. And certainly being somewhere for 2 months is not tourism, but it's also nothing like living in a place, right? I mean, it's nothing like being Dutch or... I don't really think it's very easy to imagine what it would legitimately be like to be Dutch. So yeah, I'm not pretending that I know that. But I wanted to live there for 2 months because I wanted to understand the place a little bit better, and understand, Peter Van Houten a little bit better and what his life would be like on a daily basis. So it was really, really fun to live there, even though I had what turned out to be a diseased gallbladder that sort of ruined the trip. For those of you who've never had a diseased gallbladder, it's pretty crappy. It makes a lot of things that otherwise wouldn't hurt, like daily life, pretty painful. And I got to see a lot of the Dutch healthcare system, I will say, and the Dutch healthcare system is fantastic. I was really, really impressed. It was cheap. It was cheap. It was efficient. All of the doctors listened to me very closely and took me seriously, and even though very few of them had English as their first language, they were really smart and thoughtful and helpful. I just didn't want to get my gallbladder out in the Netherlands because it just didn't seem like a good place to, have surgery. Because, not because the healthcare system isn't awesome, because it is awesome, just because I was too busy to try to, like, have a surgical recovery. So anyway, that kind of sucked. But everything else, I mean, it was amazing to live there because I'd always definitely romanticized the Netherlands in the way lots of people do, this beautiful ancient city. We were living in an apartment that was built in living in a house that was built in 1692, right in the center of the city, across the street from one of the oldest pubs in Europe. It's 0-0 at halftime, and you have to say that the Swoodilypoopers have not had a great outing. We just haven't played in front of our fans the way we were able to play on the road, and that's disappointing. And I don't want to point the finger at Voluptuous Pericard, but certainly he hasn't been particularly impressive. Then again, let's face it, the fault always lies with me, the manager, and I need to take more responsibility. Oh boy, we're in trouble. So like I'd always romanticized it because it's a, physically beautiful city with the canals and because it's this great city of freedom. To answer the question I know you are all asking, no, I did not smoke pot, and no, I did not see a hooker. Neither of those things are really in part of my like view of Amsterdam. I had to walk. I walked past the red light district every day on the way to the library where I would write and do research and stuff. But like it's just not. It's really not that much of Amsterdam. To be honest with you, like it's really not. It's a lot of Amsterdam for tourists. In The Fault in Our Stars, someone says that Amsterdam is a city of freedom, and in freedom many people find sin, and I think that's true. It's just really, really not. Oh, one size fits all. Couldn't get down on the ball. It's just really not a city that's about sex and drugs. Because there are a million people who live in Amsterdam, and those million people basically, very few of those people, go to the red light district or the coffee shops with any regularity, or at all, in fact. And so, no, I did not smoke pot when I was in Amsterdam, and I did not, visit a hooker. It's just so unimaginable to me. It was so like not in my like top 100,000 things to do in Amsterdam. And like I didn't want to waste 4 hours being massively intoxicated from the incredibly powerful Dutch marijuana. So yeah, no, I didn't. But to me, it's more a city of canals and a city of this fascinating history of that has a really weird relationship with colonialism and a really weird relationship with immigrants and everything else. Like, I mean, Holland is a fascinating place in that respect, because so much of its wealth was derived from its trading in the 17th and 18th centuries, a lot of which was very exploitative. And the Dutch people are really conscious of that complicated history in a way that, like, we maybe aren't as conscious on a daily basis in America of our complicated history. That, for instance, a lot of our wealth was derived from slavery, which it was. Particularly those of us who grew up in the South. A lot of the infrastructure even was made possible by slavery. So that I really liked, and then I loved living there because I could visit just like 20 of the best museums in the world whenever I wanted. They have a fantastic contemporary art museum, although it's only half open. There's a joke in the Netherlands that there are many great museums in Amsterdam, but none of them are open, which is kind of true. Like the Rijksmuseum is half closed right now. The Stedelijk is half closed right now because, so it's expensive to run museums. But oh no, we could lose. We could still lose this game, except that we have one size fits all, so we're not going to. We really need to win this, by the way. This is a very important game, and I don't know why we haven't won. And I'm going to make some changes right now to my team. Specifically, nothing personal, Voluptuous Pericard, but you have not performed up to my expectations, so I'm going to be bringing in John Green. You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. I really loved I really loved being able to go to museums all the time. I really loved being able to take Henry to these places that were were really fascinating to him. Not like, obviously Henry's not like an art connoisseur. He's 1.5 years old, but there were places that were really fascinating to him, like because there were so many people in Amsterdam, and because he loved the tram so much and the trains and the public transportation and all of that. Like it was just really really fun to see him get so excited about things. And that was when he was first acquiring language too. So it was a weird, I mean, he hasn't maintained any Dutch, but it was a weird mix of, oh, one size fits all, finishes! He does it in the 80th minute. One size fits all. He's big. He's small. He's also short and tall. One size fits all. Yes, in the 85th minute. Gosh. We were going to lose, but then one size fits all gets just enough of his head on the ball. The keeper can't get down because it's freezing cold. And the Swindon Town Swoodilypoopers are up 1-0 against West Bromwich Albion, a.k.a. West Bromwich Lusion. Now we just need Fat Lucas to keep a clean sheet for 5 minutes. Oh, no. Oh, no. Fat Lucas. Oh, he intimidated them with his girth. Made him miss. Great stuff from One Size Fits All. Great goal. Oh, looks like the Swoodilypoopers are going to pull a win out of nothing. That's our specialty. So I still really love Amsterdam, and I hope that I get to go back when The Fault in Our Stars comes out. It's always going to be a special place to me now, because it's always going to be the place where I finished that book, which was, one of the harder things that I ever did in my career, at least so far. So it's always going to have a really special place in my memory, and also, in our family, because we had such a, special adventure there, like crazy adventure of like having a 1-year-old in a 4-story walk up from the 17th century. It was a beautiful apartment, though. We were so lucky to be able to be there. Yeah, so it was great. And I'm I have to say at the end here that I'm very, very grateful to Dutch. He's smelling his armpits in shame. That I'm very grateful to the Dutch and Belgian Nerdfighter community, which is maybe the strongest Nerdfighter community of them all. Because without them, none of that would have been possible. And in a lot of ways, The Fault in Our Stars wouldn't have been possible. So I have to thank them, even though there's no way that any of them are still watching at the end of this. Because I don't think any of them can bear to watch me play football so terribly. The Swindon Town Swoodilypoopers win 1-0 thanks to a beautiful goal from One Size Fits All. Let's watch it one more time. Oh, One Size Fits All. That goal was all courage. All right. Thanks for watching. Best wishes.